Hi.
Hi.
Welcome to the Confidence Mastery podcast, Charlie. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. My first question, I'm just going to jump in, because when I was re-listening to an interview I did a little while ago, my first question was, why did you decide to come on the podcast?
I like you.
Yay!
Yeah, that was the main reason why. I can't remember how or why we connected, but I know we did connect on Instagram, and I just like your energy. I think that's the most that's the most honest answer I can give you, actually.
Thank
And
you.
then obviously, since getting to know you a little bit, I've
Yeah.
had to park the fact that you're a Millwall fan and just put that to one side.
Well, I've had to park the fact that you're a West Ham fan.
Okay, so
you know, everyone has to compromise somewhere.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Do you want to give people a little bit of an insight into who you are? I like when people do that. I think you'll tell it better than me. Because we did connect on Instagram, and there was a reason for that. So I would like you to...
You want me to lean into that one?
Yeah.
Okay, well, most people, if anyone knows me at all, will know me for quitting the Conservative Party live on the BBC over COVID.
Yeah.
And I used to work for them for quite a while, and I found the measures they were taking with Plan B and vaccine passports and mandatory vaccination to be going way too far. So I kind of made my mark on the world, shall we say, by doing that. That got me into a few headlines for a few days, which I quite
How did it feel doing
enjoyed.
that? You enjoyed it? You enjoy the notoriety?
The thought that I might have done something worthwhile
Yeah.
was the thing that kind of got me
Good.
through that, because when I did it, I thought, oh, what have I just done? Because it wasn't like I had preordained it. It wasn't like I thought, I know what I'm going to do today.
Yeah.
I literally got asked to go on the BBC to talk about it, and I think the BBC thought I was going to be very much pro the measures and pro Boris and pro everything, and I just, in a roundabout way, I kind of tipped them bollocks, and I said, I'm not having it. I can't be bothered with all this. So obviously I put it in a much more polite way than I just put it to you.
The BBC wouldn't like that, would
they
they?
wouldn't have liked it, no, especially not live. But afterwards I thought, okay, I'm going to get some local attention.
Yeah.
It was then when I went on my computer and saw an email from the local paper. Then I got an email from GB News, then it was Sky News, then it was Breitbart, then it was The Times, then it was... And it all kind of happened within like half an hour, 45 minutes. And I was looking at all these names and these where they're from, and I thought, okay, I've kind of done something here. And I think the week after I did that, you had 100 and 110 or so MPs rebel against the government on some of their plans, and I thought, I may not get any credit for any of this, but I could have been that first snowball, you know, that kind of turned it into the avalanche that kind of brought down Boris, I guess.
Do you think that there was a lot of people already thinking what you were and weren't brave enough to speak out about it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I tried to get the Conservative Party internally to change the way they were conducting themselves over COVID, and I was met with so much... it was a mixture of party loyalty, as in... Boris has said so this is what we shall do. And, well, we know this isn't right, but, you know, we've kind of got a title and we've kind of got a job and we've kind of got things that we want to hold on to, which is far more important than thinking that me, the conspiracy theorist, could be right. And as it turns out, I was right. And, you know, I wasn't the only one involved in trying to make the government see sense, far from it. I mean, I was probably quite late to the party in terms of impact, but... you know, internally it was either, we know you're right, but we don't want to say anything, or we don't even care that you're right. This is what we've been told to do. And I couldn't abide by that.
No. When do you think that there was a moment that you were like, this is all bollocks?
Yeah. When they started talking about vaccinating children.
Right.
It was then that I thought, for the whole period of time, we've been told that these vaccines are not suitable for kids.
Yeah.
And then you've got two ministers in Parliament talking about giving them to children. And the more I researched it and the more I looked into it, I realised that the government had the power, or talking about having the power, to overrule parental rights. So if, say for example, your child was offered a vaccine and you as a parent said no, and the government thought the kid should have it, they would mediate with the school. So the school would talk to your child and say, little Billy, little Sally, do you want to have this injection? It's really good for your health. You know, you might get a lollipop at the end of it. Oh yeah, okay, Missy, I'll take it. And then if the child comes home with the school's blessing and says he wants the vaccine, but the parent doesn't want the vaccine, the child's will, with the school's coercion, would win out.
Yeah.
And I found that to be the most disgusting, the most...
Same.
Yeah, it was vile. It was absolutely vile. And there's no way that I would ever let anyone come near my child with anything without my say so. Never.
It's not right. It's not the right thing to do. It's like, you're not allowed to vote, but you can decide what you put into your body.
Yeah.
That was what got me as well. And I think the thing that kind of before that, for me, it was they opened the gyms after the pubs. And if it's really all about health, why can I go and get shit-faced, but I can't go to the gym?
And you love the gym.
I love the gym.
You love the gym.
I do.
Yeah.
So,
I used to love the gym.
What stopped the love of the gym?
Do you know what? I had a target, and I hit my target, and I felt like I was on top.
Right.
And I fell off because I just kind of fell back into old habits of eating junk, sugar, and I just kind of... what it was, I got so motivated to look a certain way by a certain date that when I did it, I was like, right, I'm king of the world. I can do what I want now, you know. And then I realised didn't happen overnight, obviously, but gradually I kind of went downhill. The weight started coming back on, and then I thought, all that effort I made, and it took me no effort to get this big again. So it's so demoralising when you fall off the wagon like that. But
get back on the wagon.
I have to. You'll have to train me. She's like, no, I don't think so. Yeah.
I don't train people anymore. That's all. But I can take you to the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm actually doing a launch next week, and one of the competition prizes is an hour in the gym with me.
Is that it?
One. Because otherwise people won't be able to walk.
Oh, is that what it is? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I've seen the videos and I've seen the pictures, so I don't doubt it.
No, I'm a bit of a beast. So, yes, but it's good fun. I do enjoy it. But it's having that kind of routine and the discipline to do things which makes life better for me. Like, I used to think that freedom was about doing what you want when you want, but actually having some discipline and routine actually gave me more freedom.
It does. Yeah. It does. I mean, I used to be that guy that would take Tupperwares everywhere, and I was proper on it because I just thought, if I don't have food prep, I will look at the Golden Arches on the motorway and be straight in the drive-through. I'll be going into Marks and Spencer's at the BP garage on the way home from wherever I'm driving from, and you know, having that preparation just prevented me from falling off, and it does help.
It does. It's 80-20.
Yeah, I mean, some people think it's restrictive, but I actually saw it as quite liberating in a way, despite the fact that I don't really do too much of it now.
But you know, you've got the skills to be able to, if you wanted to.
The skills
to be able to, because it is a skill to be able to go to the gym, to do the meal prep, to take it with you, to say no.
Oh yeah. I get what you're saying.
Like,
yeah. I mean, I think that I like the idea of it, and I think I'm kind of slowly edging more back that way. But
set yourself a new goal, a new deadline.
But I like boozing, just like you. I like going down the pub. I like enjoying it a little bit.
Then that allows you to do those things.
Yeah.
That's part of my kind of ethos about it.
Yeah.
You know, I can eat this because I go to the gym. Mm-hmm. Sometimes. I don't advocate like fully being undisciplined, but every now and then you need a blowout. So, talking of, you also do DJing, right?
I do.
So when did that come from?
Well, when I first got involved in music, I wanted to be a singer, and that's what I did for many years. And the DJing side of things became an extension of that, because after a while, I kind of got tired of singing the same songs in the same style. Because the thing that I used to do, I was more swing, Michael Bublé, Frank Sinatra. That's the kind of lane that I found myself in. I did want to be an R&B singer, but I felt like the swing stuff kind of suited my voice a little bit more, so I ran with that. And like I said, after a while, I kind of got a little bit tired of it, and I realised that every family party, every time I got inside a friend's car, every time there was something going on, give Charlie the auxiliary cable, give Charlie the control. And I was at a wedding and I was performing there, and one of my friends turned up and he said, I've just bought a nightclub. And I said, okay. So I let him get off his chest what he'd achieved and everything he was doing, his excitement, everything else. And then I said to him, so when's my first night? And he said, what do you mean? And I said, at the club, like, when are you going to get me on? He was like, can you even DJ? I said, of course I can. I'm mustard. And he went, and all right, I'll give you a shot. I'd never touched a deck in my life at this point.
That's confidence.
Yeah, well, do you know what it was? I read a book. I can't remember what the book was called. It was Richard Branson's autobiography. And I believe he said in the book, always say yes and then learn how to do it in the meantime.
Yeah.
So that's basically what I did. I said, give me a go.
Yep.
And then in the meantime, I learned how to do it. However, saying that, when I did turn up on the first night, I was awful. Like, I was tragic. And I had like another DJ with me to kind of like back me up, right. who I was basically working with. He had far more experience in the club scene than I did. And yeah, he kind of saved me on that night. And then it was like, right, I need to really kind of like smash this now, because I'm my first ever DJ gig is in a proper nightclub and I've got no right to be here, you know. So
that equally, like this podcast is called Confidence Mastery, and a lot of people, they wouldn't go and say yes and then learn how to do it after until you had the confidence to go, yeah, I'm going to do this. So you had earned the right, because although you hadn't had the experience, your attitude gave you the right to be there.
I just always believed that like everything you want is held by somebody else. Like anything you want to achieve is behind someone else's yes or a no. And I've never been afraid of being told no, because no is the same position you're in now. So with him giving me that night, it spurred me on to actually earn my stripes, because I knew that I was a chancer. Yeah. But I thought, well, I can't let him down. And then from that, I went on to DJing at the London Stadium. I've DJed at festivals, I've DJed on boat parties. And for me, that is confirmation that I was right to take that chance, you know. But obviously I believed I could do it. I wouldn't just go and say, oh, you know, what, you're having heart problems, well, I can carve you up and help you out there. Like, I'm not going to be ridiculous with it. But you know, there's many things that people, I've read this so many times, people say, what is it exactly that you do? And I go, I do everything, baby. And they're like, why? Like, why don't you pick one thing and run with that one thing? Because that's boring. That's boring. I don't want to do just one thing. If I want to sing, I want to go and sing. If I want to go and do a party, I want to go and do a party. If I want to go and talk about politics on TV, I want to go and talk about politics on TV.
What got you into that bit?
What, the politics? Yeah. Probably having the confidence to speak my mind, actually. When I was at school, I used to always have debates with my teachers, because obviously the kids didn't have a grasp at all. I mean, most kids don't really, even these days, have a grasp on politics and the way the world is supposed to work, and then how it really works. And the amount of conversations I had with my teachers, one of them said to me, I think you should go and become a youth MP, which to me was like, what's the point? And because I was probably more cynical as a child than I am now, and that's really saying something.
Okay.
Yeah. And he said, well, go and do it and see how you feel. And I went to this thing at Parliament, and we were in a meeting with all these other children, and it was hosted by a minister's junior assistant, or someone that was completely irrelevant, really. Right. And I thought, what's the point in being here? They're not going to take our comments back. They're not going to do anything with this. And I left it where it was, and I got approached a couple of times to join the Conservatives as I got older. And I only took the plunge when I was maybe 29, 30-ish. Right. Because I felt like I'd had a life. I'd run a business by that point. I had a daughter. Yeah. I'd actually done something with my life, which wasn't just I've gone to university and got a politics degree and now I think I'm Mr. Prime Minister, which a lot of them do. Right. I actually did something, and I felt like I had something, a perspective now, you know, which could be valued, and I just ran with it and felt like I could make a difference. And then I realised that the machine of politics is not geared for change; it's geared for repetition. You know, there's nothing really changes. I mean, you can vote for Labour, you can vote for the Conservative Party, and it will be two sides of the same coin, sadly.
So, do you think there's no way to change what's going on? I was having this conversation with someone the other night. Like,
you can change it, but it requires financial will to do it. Nothing works without money.
No.
And to get to a point where the most successful party in the history of politics, the Conservatives, they're long established, they're deep rooted. I mean, they're probably, you know, just as relevant to the fabric of this country as the monarchy is. And to say that you're going to try and ruin their party and ruin their grip on control, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to do. I think if you get proportional representation, you will see changes, because there will be no alternative but change if you get that. But it requires people with money to finance that. It's the same thing with everything, you know. The reason why people rushed out the door to vote one way or the other over Brexit was because of the financial push involved in either argument. And the same with COVID, the same with climate change. All of these things are pushed by big money. So to get political change, you're going to need
a lot of money,
some deep pockets, and who wants to spend on that?
I think there should be people that are willing to spend on it though, because the system's broken. Or actually it's not, it works just how it's supposed to.
Yeah, the system works for the people that have the power.
But it's broken for the citizens.
Yeah, but if you are a multinational company, or if you have your claws in the back of a politician or a big organisation which is influential, would you want to pay for change when you can get everything you want?
Everything you want, no.
You wouldn't want to pay for it, would you? So I think it requires some foresight, and I don't think that when money's involved, people care about foresight. They care about bottom lines, and that's it.
Yeah, it's all about the profit.
Yeah, of course.
But it's like the Together declaration, and they've got a shit ton of money behind them, but they've come together and people know who they are and they've made change.
I mean, they were who I was thinking about when I said that I was kind of late to the party and kind of trying to influence things in the country. But Alan and Norris, I mean, they're fantastic people. I mean, I've met them a few times now, and Richard Taylor, who is a friend of mine as well. They've all done things which I think is incredibly admirable, but they're still not in like the front of mind. They're still pushing, but they're not. You know, when you say Together declaration, you and I know about that because we have a keen interest in the skullduggery that we've been put through for the past few years. Whereas Joe Public will read a BBC News headline and that's as far as their news goes. Yeah. And that's it. BBC News don't talk about Together. You know, Sky News won't talk about Together. The only places that I see Alan Miller on is GB News, which is great. That he's got a regular platform to talk about this on, because I think GB News is great. Yeah. But it's not enough to kind of influence the kind of changes that we need, unfortunately. And
the BBC definitely aren't going to talk about it because they're like government propaganda machine, aren't they?
No, they won't do anything. No, they're so woke as well. They'll never do anything that will go against the trajectory that we're already on. That.
Have you seen? I saw today America's badge for the World Cup.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah. See, the thing that bothers me about the World Cup and the virtue signalling around it is that even in this country, the Shard has got Qatari investment. Barclays Bank has got Qatari investment. So how many people do you know that want to take pictures inside the Shard? I see it all the time. You know, every week I see someone having dinner at the Shard. And how many people do you know or possibly know that bank with Barclays? And those will be the same people that complained about the World Cup. Personally, I think that the World Cup is an example of what we were just talking about when it comes to big money and things not changing, because you will get the USA team change their logo to the rainbow flag. You will get the England football team maybe wearing a rainbow armband. But what difference does that make if you're going to go and take the money from a country that would kill you for being gay, or would not allow you to do the things that you can do over here, have the liberty to do what you do over here? I find it all hypocritical, which is why I won't watch the World Cup this year. Because I think if the England football team and the Premier League and all these people can kneel every 5 seconds during a football game and wear armbands and everything else, and then go to a country which doesn't like anyone that you're trying to support at home. What's the point of doing it? There's no point. And I know they're going to try and do something of a gesture. They will try and do something.
But what's the point in making a gesture like that? It's insignificant, really.
It is insignificant. It
should be, okay, we're not going to do it. We're not going to go.
Yeah.
Like the Brewdog anti-sponsor campaign. I don't know if that was just a bit of PR, but they did where the anti-fuck-up, not the World Cup fuck-up, and said that all of their profits are going to whatever charity it was, I can't remember, to help with all of the issues that happen in like Qatar.
Yeah, I mean, good luck with that.
But then that was a big PR stunt as well.
Yeah, good luck with that. I mean, the Qatari royal family have come out, I think, today and yesterday, and said that despite the fact that Budweiser have the biggest endorsement deal at the World Cup, you can't buy beer. So in the stadiums now, you can buy Bud Zero, like non-alcoholic Budweiser, but you can't actually buy any alcohol now. So if people think that going over there and taking a knee and wearing an armband is going to make any bit of difference, they've lost their mind.
See, I didn't know that. You learn something every day.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have lost their mind though.
Yeah, they have. I mean, I remember, I cannot remember which minister it was, but a minister gave advice and said that if you are going to the World Cup and you happen to be gay, you know, perhaps respect the Qatari culture. And I think, it's not verbatim, I'm just kind of paraphrasing.
Yeah.
And I think he got a lot of backlash for that. I think it might have been James Cleverly, I'm not too sure. Manner of speaking in regards to people that think that having an electric car is going to make a blind bit of difference to climate change, because how is electricity made?
I know.
And then you have to charge your car with the end product of how it's made. So, you know, I use that word in the context of you're dumb if you think that's going to make any difference.
They really do. They've bought into it.
Yeah, they do.
It's like, the brainwashing is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, it's really clever marketing.
It is.
All of it. And I learned a lot from watching the government and the news and how to market over the past 2.5 years, because it was just so good.
Repetition. This is why, even though people understand they've been lied to, they will still tune into the BBC and to Sky News and to CNN in America, or wherever you get your news from. You will always go back there because you find the logo to be comforting. The same thing we mentioned about going to McDonald's, driving home from somewhere. Everybody knows the McDonald's is full of shit. We all know that, but you've seen them arches everywhere, so you trust it.
Yeah.
That's the key to branding. Like McDonald's, Coca-Cola, PlayStation, these firms, I associate them all with football. They always advertising somewhere at football.
Yeah.
Alcohol at football stadiums, gambling at football stadiums. Are any of these healthy?
No.
No?
No.
But you've got footballers who will not touch it, who will not drink it, who will not go to McDonald's, but you get marketed to in a sport environment that you should play video games, eat shit, get drunk and waste your money.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to like Roman times or even before, you know, give them bread and something to do, something to watch, and they'll comply.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
So that's what we do.
Yeah.
I mean, I love football, and I associate football with beer and gambling, because it goes hand in hand, but I wouldn't do that every day.
No, but you see how you said about how the marketing works. It's the constant repetition of. Yeah. Okay, why do you think Ed Sheeran's so popular? Just to make it a little bit more nuanced, Ed Sheeran is so popular because he's on every 5 seconds on every radio station, everywhere.
Because you hear him all the time.
If you were given Ed Sheeran's album as a first listen, I don't think you'd say his music is bad. I think a lot of people might say that they like Ed Sheeran's music.
Right.
But when it's been thrust down your throat every 5 seconds, do you have a choice but to like it?
No, or you end up singing along.
Yeah.
Because even then you're like, what am I singing along to? Hold on a minute.
Yeah.
I don't even like this song.
And even as a DJ, and I should be kind of like playing up to what the crowd wants most of the time, I will listen to what goes on in the charts, and I'll listen to what goes on, like on Spotify, which one's doing the most numbers, and I'll think, these songs are shit. These are terrible.
Right.
Like, but they're doing numbers, so you kind of got to play along. So, I think that Yeah, repetition. Definitely repetition is how the best way to get things across. But again, that takes money as well.
It takes money, but it takes like being consistent is where you get results, and that's what I teach my clients as well. You know, consistency equals success. Like the more you do something, the better you'll get at it.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that.
You know, you have to put the graft in.
Yeah.
To achieve what you want. Like if you hadn't started DJing in the beginning, and you wouldn't got to where you are now, because you wouldn't have been practicing.
That's right. I wouldn't have been. No, and now I love it. Like I think people look at me when I'm at work, and I don't realise sometimes the environment that I'm in, because I get so invested in the next mix or the next song or what I'm going to do next, that before I know it, I've done half the night just kind of like in my head doing. Yeah. Nice. But I like it. I enjoy it. I enjoy seeing people have fun. I like being the architect of someone's night. You know, I like having the control of being able to change your mood. It's not. Which sounds a bit.
It does sound a bit dark, but I understand what you mean.
It's not dark when you can bring people up to a point where you can spin a track off and you can play the opening few seconds of another song, and they go crazy for you. It's euphoric. The feeling you get. It can't be beat. Not in my experience. It cannot be beat. Even when I was singing and people liked to enjoy me do that, getting thousands of people in front of you to go, oh my God, like that. There's nothing better than that. Nothing better than that. And to bring them down again, to kind of give them that up, drop it real slow and sexy, and they kind of vibe with that as well. It's just brilliant. It's great.
So I can understand that. I can get on board with that. And you see the way people behave, like their behaviour change.
Yeah.
Over the course of a night as well.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Never thought about it like that. So I just stick a song on and go.
Yeah, see, I plan everything out. So every job I do, I don't have a set list, but I have a formula.
Right.
So I like to be able to see how successful it is on each different night, because you can always tell if you've got to mix it up a little bit, but there's always things that I would include in the night to take us up to that point there, and then bring them right back down. Yeah. Where they don't complain, because people, when you go fast and go slow, it needs to be a slow banger. Like if you're gonna play some garage, for example, and you come out of that and you think, right, I need to bring it down, you can play Pony by Genuine at any event, and that's like that's a slow tune. Yeah. It's not really that quick, and you can play that anywhere, and the reaction from the women.
Oh God, yeah.
Unreal. Even you know, right? It's true. And the thing is the key to being a good DJ, in my opinion, is controlling the mood of the women. Because the women will dance. Yep. The men will watch. The men may join the dance, but if the women are dancing, you're happy. And if the men are watching you dance, they're happy. So for me, that's the perfect balance. You need to play to women mostly. And that's really how you win, I think. In my experience,
but that's why they let the women in the clubs.
Yeah, of course.
Because that brings the men in.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is, and like people see a problem with that. I don't see a problem with that.
No,
it works.
No, it does work. Yeah, of course it does.
If it's not broke, don't fix it.
It's like when you go to clubs and you're met by a hostess. It's always a beautiful girl, because girls like being around other women that are beautiful, and men love beauty. So again, it's a formula that works.
Well, it's that experience as well, isn't it? You're creating an experience, and having beautiful people around. Yeah. It makes for a nicer experience.
Yeah, of course it does.
Because everybody wants to look at something nice.
Yeah.
And anyone who says they don't is a liar.
Yeah, they are a liar. Yeah.
Do you think that you can apply that kind of logic to real? Not that DJing is not real life; it is real life. I mean, the day to day, because going out for the night is an experience and a memory to have, if people don't get too drunk. Yeah. But like in a day to day, how could you apply that to normal life?
You mean playing up to women?
Well, maybe. But like controlling the mood or behaviours of people, because I see a lot of similarities in what you've just said there about DJing and what the government have been doing, and controlling the mood and the flavour of people through the fear mongering, through that repetition, through getting that, that's in your mind.
Is it positive though?
Scared. That isn't positive, no.
No, I think humans are wired to be drawn to drama. That's why you have shows like the Kardashians that are so successful. That's why you have Love Island, which is so successful, Big Brother, these kind of reality-based shows.
Love Island, they didn't want me.
They want you, no? Why?
I think I'm too controversial for them.
That's what they need.
I know that's what they need.
That's what they need.
Honestly, I did a post that said, should I apply for Love Island? Everyone was like, yes, I'll watch it if you go on it. That's what they need. And they did not
Did
want
they tell
me.
you why they said no?
No.
They just said no?
No.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah.
I want to apply again.
Well, they've got Big Brother coming out. You should apply for that.
I should apply for Big Brother.
You should. Why not?
Okay.
I think they're still doing applications now.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
go for it.
I'll apply for Big Brother.
But they do like controversy.
They
Big
need
Brother.
it. Yeah, Big Brother might over Love Island.
Yeah. And that's what makes it engaging. People, I think, you throw anything negative out there, people are like, oh, what's the drama? What's the tea? I need to find out what's going on. It's like when you see a car crash.
Everyone slows down.
Everyone slows down. You think there's a massive traffic jam up ahead, but there isn't. It's just people gawping at the crash on the other side of the road. And that's how we're wired. Things that are positive outside of stimulation, in terms of what you said about music, and you segued into like how the government use their tools to change your mood and things. It's that's real life emotion. You know, the government are actually making you feel a certain way, and you're drawn to it because it's fear. Once you have people in a state of fear, you can control them very easily. Think about how many people that you knew who were so afraid of getting COVID, about not getting a jab, about walking out the house without a mask because they thought, if I don't, I'm going to die. And that control, I believe, was the fast track to what is coming now with central banking, digital currencies, and having everything connected to your ID, but just online.
Terrifying.
And I mean, I had this conversation with one of my friends, and he called me a bit of a nutter because I said this whole push for electric vehicles is not so we can save the planet per se. It is so they can control whether you drive or not.
And how far you can
go. No, they won't do that. I said,
far
bro,
you can go as well.
I was like, let's think about all new modern cars. They're all connected to some sort of phone network or Wi-Fi or whatever it is. Do you not think that they would have something in the car which says they can turn it off and stop you from going somewhere? And once you get that connected with the CBDCs and your ID is connected to your money directly and everything about you is connected to you on some big database somewhere that the government can reprogram as and when they feel like it, and you write something on Twitter they don't like, what do you think they're going to do?
Turn the car off.
Yeah,
but that's exactly what they do in China.
Yeah, and even India.
Yeah, you can't even book a plane ticket if your score is red.
Yeah, which is crazy. And a lot of people don't know this, but our beloved new Prime Minister, Rashid Sunak, as Joe Biden calls him,
he's something else, isn't he?
His father-in-law owns a company called Infosys, which does a similar system to what China has, but in India. So Rishi Sunak's father-in-law owns a company that controls all of India's social benefit system, their credit system. Everything is connected via this system that his father-in-law runs. So ask yourself this: you've got a guy who's prime minister now, who has a combined family wealth of beyond anything you can count. Why would you want the stress of a 180 grand a year job to be prime minister? And people don't think of it like that because they think, oh, come on, it's another conspiracy theory. You're just trying to bring him. I don't need to bring him down. This was preordained a long time ago. Why do you think they wanted Boris gone so much?
So they could bring in the next.
So they could bring in another puppet.
Yeah.
Liz Truss was not their chosen candidate. That was
the decoy.
I think they gave the Conservative Party members a chance to vote for somebody, and they thought they'd get Rishi. It's the same thing with Brexit. They all thought that Remain would win, and then when Remain lost, they will shit themselves. It's the same thing with Liz Truss. Rishi, Remain, didn't win. Right, we need to try and get rid of her then. We need to get Rishi in, and now he's in. You'll see. Mark my words. I reckon.
I see it.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're preaching to the choir, like.
Yeah.
Because I've heard people say that, we need someone with that kind of wealth because he knows how to run a business, and the country needs to be run like a business.
I do agree with the principle of running the country like a business, because if the government was run like a real corporation, would have been shut down by now.
Yeah, the world would be, I don't know. But I see the benefit from that side. But when you look into all the connections and what's coming, and it was July last year that he said about the digital currencies.
Yeah.
So people seem to have forgotten this, and then they're praising.
It's because you're not told. The repetition isn't there. It doesn't suit the government or the media to keep repeating the fact that they're about to take over your whole life. That's why nowadays, if I go to a place of business, whether it be a pub, or just a general shop, whatever, I will always try to spend cash. And when they say, oh, we don't accept cash, I will leave. If I haven't already ordered something. I will say, right, I'll go somewhere else.
I had this even before all of this happened. There's a bar at London Bridge, and I was trying to pay cash. And I will only take card. I'm like, but I've got cash.
Yeah.
And I left there, and I had a word with the manager as well. And I was like, but this is legal tender. You can't not take it. And then I thought, actually, do I want to be in here anyway? No. So I left. And I've never been back.
Yeah. See, COVID set this up.
Yeah.
Because it's like, we don't want you to spend money because
it's dirty.
It'll pass on the virus that you can still get through that face mask and the vaccine that doesn't work. You know, but don't worry, tapping will save you.
What do you think about this amnesty?
What, you mean giving the media and the politicians a pass for lying to us? No, I think that people need to come out and apologise, and I don't just mean a collective apology. I think every single person that advocated for lockdowns, for telling you were going to kill your nan if you went and saw her, for not going to your family's funeral, for not going to your family's wedding, for not seeing, you know, maybe people who have got split homes, not seeing your children for their birthdays. The damage that all does to the psyche of a family is far more reaching than people will acknowledge right now, because it's still close to when it happened. Yeah. It won't resonate just yet. For some, it will, obviously, but for many, it won't just yet. When that happens, people will then look at politicians a completely different way. But those politicians that made those decisions by that time will probably have moved on, probably won't be in a job anymore, probably doing speeches for a bank like Barclays, getting Qatari money,
getting paid for it,
while saying that Qatar is bad. So I think that an amnesty for people that lied to us is a no-no. They should all have to apologise, and they should all be punished in the same way we were. Which might sound harsh, because some people may have been ignorant with good intention. But many weren't. And if it takes, you know, a working class pleb like me and people like me to be able to read between the lines 2 years before the government said, oh, hold on a minute, maybe we shouldn't be doing this, then that tells me that was done on purpose. Because there's no way, with all their money, all their resources, they did not know the things that we knew. 100%.
They knew. They knew. I believe they knew exactly what they were doing, and they went ahead with it anyway. Like, it's all been planned. Like you said, with Rishi coming in.
This comes full circle back to being about confidence and having the confidence to own your own thoughts.
Yeah.
People don't have that confidence.
No.
They have this.
That's what I want to help people to do.
Yeah, they don't have the ability to be able to be critical and own your own criticisms of others, despite the fact you are going to get backlash. You are going to get people say you're crazy.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay, because whilst you're not being crazy and you're thinking for yourself, they're going to read the news. And then on a Sunday over lunch, they're going to say, I don't know why I read the news, all bollocks. And then on Monday morning, they're going to say, fucking hell, guess what I saw in the paper today? And it goes round and round and round and round again. I would prefer it if people were able to look at the news, read the same story that's printed in the Daily Mail, and then read the different take of the same story in the Guardian, and then read between the lines. That's what I do with most of the news, and then 9 times out of 10 I'll say, that's all bollocks anyway.
Most of it is.
Yeah.
But it's having that ability to think, okay, well, why should I just believe that because it's printed there, and then compare it to something else and talk about it? I find a lot of people don't want to talk about it. Like, I had this with a neighbour, and she said about, I'm sure I've said this on here before, she wanted me to do a test to go to the pub, and I just flat out refused. And I said, do you realise the ridiculousness of your request? Because you're going to see vulnerable people, but you were going to be in a pub with people that you don't know, and you still want me to do it. And I was like, no. So I, tried to explain, and then I said, all right, well, we'll just meet another time as long as I don't have to prove my health to you. And then she said about just not talking about this kind of thing. And I said, but I want to. I want to talk to you about it and understand why you believe the things that you do, so that I can understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Because I want to understand people, but a lot of others don't. They just want to shut the conversation down.
Tolerance is a one-way street. It's always a one-way street. People are tolerant for as long as you go along with the message. The moment you give a differing opinion, they don't want to talk to you anymore. Your friend, I don't want to talk about this no more. Why? Because you offer opposition. You offer them an opportunity to think, and they don't want to think. They'd rather just tell you that you're wrong.
Yeah.
One thing I would say about COVID and the effect of it ending proves the point about how you can't trust the media, because the day Russia invaded Ukraine,
COVID disappeared.
And that sounds cynical,
but it did.
Before that happened, we were still being told, maybe you should still wear a mask, maybe you should get your booster.
Not maybe.
I mean, I'll get texts. I reckon I've had, the last time I counted, I had 41 text messages from the NHS telling me to get injected.
40, bloody hell.
41. And I've had more since then. This was a few months ago. And I posted a tweet about it.
Yeah.
And 41.
That's insane. If you haven't had it by now, you're not going to have it.
Yeah. But then, I mean,
that's the other side of this.
Yeah. So the push, there's a constant push, get your jab, get your booster, get your jab, get your booster. But since Russia have invaded Ukraine and you've had all that going on, the texts have slowed down, the push for it has slowed down. You don't hear about it in the news anymore. All of a sudden, the most deadly, contagious, life-threatening disease of all time,
it's
gone. It's just vanished. It's incredible, that.
Amazing.
Yeah. It's like when the media don't write about something, it suddenly becomes unimportant. Incredible.
This is why things like podcasts and alternative news outlets are important.
They are, yeah.
Because, even if it's not listened to by millions or seen by millions, it gets to the people that it needs to get to, and then they start speaking about it, and that's where things grow from.
Some of the biggest YouTube channels that I watch and podcasts that I listen to are big because they offer an alternative perspective, and it's not just copy and paste journalism.
Yeah.
So channels which I find funny and informative at the same time would be Paul Joseph Watson. I think he's fantastic. Russell Brand, I think he's great as well.
I used to hate him.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
I used to absolutely hate him, and now I don't.
Yeah.
And he's a West Ham fan as well.
He is. That's it. Get him on.
I can try.
You can try.
I can try.
Yeah.
He'd probably want a bunch of money though.
He might do.
He might want a lot of money.
When you get big.
When I get bigger.
That's it.
I'll be like a fridge.
Yeah. Yeah. So I like those channels because they offer humour with an alternative look at what we're being told.
Yeah.
And that's just two examples. There's so many that I watch, but I like those two the most purely because they give you that alternative. And again, I'll mention one of my friends, Maya Tusi. He has a channel which covers mainly British parliamentary political stuff.
Right.
But he doesn't put a spin on things. He says, this is what the politician has said. This is what I think they mean.
Yeah.
I think they're talking shit. I actually quite like this one. I don't like that one. I don't trust. He's very much like someone that you can relate to, because he will go down a pub with you and have a drink and talk about it, but he'd also go home and make 10 videos in a day about how Parliament is working. And that also gives you the alternative side of it, because he knows all of them and he gets to talk to all of them, and he's connected with many people that kind of give him the inside scoop on things, and he's able to say, well, Sky News have said this, but actually this is what's happening. I mean, I think without his input on YouTube, and his YouTube channel's huge, he started bringing a lot of light to the Iranian revolution that's going on in the country right now. And he was talking about that for at least 4 weeks before anyone
Oh, really?
with, a news title covered that story, and credit to him. And that's the power of it. That's the power of that independent journalistic approach to.
How have they not shut him down?
I don't know, actually. I don't know. I've got no idea. I'll ask him and find out.
Because obviously they've shut a lot of people down, and then you have to start again. So that's interesting to know that he's still going.
I'm sure that there have been times where, these channels have to censor themselves to a certain. I mean, I think they have to just be clever about how they present things. If you come across really blunt and do things like Alex Jones did in America, or if you talk in a kind of very authoritative and brash way like Andrew Tate, for example, because that approach is kind of polarizing. I quite like it, mind you, but if people don't, and they don't like the way it's being delivered, that's where I think problems begin. But if you're polite with your approach, but you still say things in the, you get the message across in the roundabout way the same, I think you avoid that. That's kind of what I've observed anyway. I don't know if that is the rule, but because I think people get banned for nothing most of the time.
They do.
Yeah.
I like Facebook bans. I've been on Facebook bans for ridiculous things, and that's not even from speaking out about what I believe and what I see.
What's the most ridiculous thing you've been banned for?
I got banned for calling someone a beast.
A beast?
Yeah, for running 50 miles.
Why was that a ban? Was that supposed to be like hateful language or something?
Bullying.
Bullying?
Yeah.
Did the person you wrote it to think you were bullying them?
No, they even did a separate thing. So it was in this running group that I fucking hate running, but every December I run every day.
Yeah.
And this year I'm doing it in someone's t-shirt, a different t-shirt for someone's business every day. But this was last year, and I think I was on like day 6, and the guy ran. It wasn't last year, it was the year before. And he ran from where he lived to go watch football, and he ran for 50 miles. And I was like, Jesus, like that, you're a beast. Like, well done. It was a compliment, and they wouldn't overturn it. He said I wasn't offended at all, and everybody was like, oh my God, no, where's Natalie? Because I'm well known for complaining about how much I hate running in that group.
So did you get banned for the whole of December?
I got banned for, it was 6 days, and then 30 days in groups.
Wow.
For giving someone a compliment.
Yeah. Well, I've had complaints from Instagram about some of the things that I've shared, and some of the things that I've shared have come from news outlets. So I go, well, hold on a minute, don't you guys work together? Why are you banning my post about what they've said? I don't think social media is any way coherent in its policy about what's acceptable and what's not.
No.
I think it is political though. You don't really get many lefty liberal types that get banned.
No, you do not.
No, I've never seen that. I could be wrong, but I don't see it.
I haven't seen it.
Think about all the people that have been banned so far that I'm aware of. And I'm not advocating for these people, I'm just going to mention them. Tommy Robinson's been banned, Kate Hopkins has been banned, Milo Yiannopoulos has been banned, Alex Jones has been banned, Paul Joseph Watson's been banned from some networks, Andrew Tate has been banned from everything. And these are just people that I'm thinking about just off the top of my head, which I think are quite prominent bans because they had huge followings. And I always find it quite telling when people that have got big audiences are shut down. And you can agree or disagree with any of these people, but I do not believe anyone has the right to say that they cannot speak. And in the modern world, if you are not posting something on social media in the digital town square, you don't exist. And that's not the reality, because obviously you can walk out into the real world and go down the pub and meet real people.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to build a brand or a following, or you're trying to create political change, which half of these people that I've mentioned are and were, how do you do that without the advent of social media? Because with that comes the banning from general legacy media. You know, if you're banned on Facebook, you're not getting invited on Sky.
No.
You're not getting invited on the BBC.
No.
You're not going to be invited on anything. So you become a nothing. And that's when you have alternative networks come up like Telegram and Signal and Rumble and all these other networks, which I think offer a platform, but it's very niche because it's all the band. It's all the band folk that go there.
All of the stuff that you can't post on socials, but so you get, like you say, an alternative way to find news. But you're right. It's kind of, well, it's not kind of sad. It's sad that you need this digital presence to, for validation.
Do you go online for validation?
No.
So I have had this debate in my head of, if I didn't go on social media ever again, would I be happy? Yes. Would I be happier than I am now? Yes.
Yes.
I would.
So why did you go on social media?
How else would you know me?
Exactly.
How else would I be able to talk to people in a way which is relatable? If I go down the pub and tell my mates what I think about the world, Charlie's had a fucking drink again. It means nothing. It means nothing. So when you get people coming up to you and messaging you, I mean, the messages that I've had over the last 12 months has been unreal. The kind of things that I've been sent, lovely things, really great things that I've been sent. But no one would have that feeling or have their mind changed had they not seen me online. Because as much as it's, okay, you did that on the BBC, most people know it because they saw it online. That's where the world is going now. And I think my whole ambition with being outspoken, and my aims for being outspoken, is to get people to think properly, to look at things and say, does this make any sense? And then work out if it does. And if it doesn't, fuck it off. And if it does, keep it moving. You have a choice. But I think that social media is also geared for drama. It isn't geared for positive. It isn't geared for...
The positive posts never get as much...
They don't.
No,
they don't. It's like I could write... if I wrote something really damning about what I've seen in the press or what I've seen on the news, that will get more love than if I said, I rejoined the gym today.
I hope to see a post saying
I'm going to do it just for you. You're going to get tagged unbelievably every time I go there. If it don't get posted, it didn't happen. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I have to take a picture every day.
That's it.
But I've recently started leaving my phone in the locker. So I don't know if people believe I still go to the gym or no. Oh no, I've got one that's not connected.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all right then. Yeah.
I know what I'm doing.
No, just saying.
So what did you say to people that want to speak out now, but they're not getting themselves over the line? What advice could you give to the people that need a bit more confidence in themselves to speak out?
Go self-employed first of all.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a joke, but I would say if you have a job, don't do it.
Yeah.
If you have a job, there's no point, because everywhere you go now will be monitored and woked up and everything else. And
they look at your socials when you go for new jobs now, don't they?
They do. I went on a podcast a few months ago, and on this podcast I said that if I was to apply for a PAYE job, I'd never get it.
No, I don't know.
The only things I could go for would be some right wing or right of centre kind of like news outlet or something along those lines, because I don't need any help getting DJ work. I'd get that all the time. But to actually go for a real job at a bank, for example, or anywhere which has some sort of corporate structure, I'd never get a job.
You're not sad about that though, are you?
No, I'm not sad about it, but it's just it doesn't fill me with much hope for the future, because there aren't going to be people who are like us that aren't afraid. There are going to be people that don't have the ability to rely on something else. Like if I never spoke about politics again, I'll always have work. I know that already. I'm not concerned about it. But some people don't have that fallback. And when I look at children growing up nowadays, I think they're fucked. Once they get to 18, 19, 20, stepping out into the world, having to stand on their own 2 feet, what are they going to do? Don't speak. If you see anything that you don't like, be quiet. And that's going to be the world they live in. And I would say that it takes a lot of courage for people to come out and say what's wrong with the world. But unfortunately, those that do will get shut down. So it takes a collective. I think you need to you need to roll around with like-minded individuals and kind of agree that you will stick together.
Yeah.
It's easier said than done, mind you, because people are selfish intrinsically. But you know, if you can gravitate towards people that are like-minded and aren't afraid, that's one step forward. But if you've got a job, forget it. There's no point.
So go self-employed.
In a roundabout way, yeah. If you can,
Yeah.
if you can.
I think there's always alternative ways to make money to live, that you don't need to rely on the system, especially if you want out of this, you know, universal basic income
Yeah.
that is coming. You know, you have to find other ways, otherwise, like you say, you're fucked.
In California, they're introducing a. I'm remembering this from what I saw last night. Basically, it's money. If you're transgender, you'll get an income for 18 months of a certain amount of money if you identify as being transgender in California. So, you know, in my mind, I'm thinking, well, if that comes to the UK, I'm going to be they, them until the money runs out, you know, because why not? Like, if I can just, you know, click my fingers and become, you know...
No, I identify as, I mean, I could be a pancake tomorrow.
You could be. You could be.
Be a pancake.
Yeah.
Do I get money for that?
No. But this is the world you live in now. This is the world we all live in now. It's, if you identify as something, you get to claim oppression. You get to claim that you are under the foot of the white man, you know, which is all bollocks as far as I'm concerned. And what I say this to people quite often, the further you get away from being a straight white male, the more offended and outspoken you're allowed to be. The closer you get to being a straight white male, be quiet.
Yeah.
Because if you say anything, you will get dropped. And I think that where I don't care, I say what I want. And, you know, I'm not really that bothered about it.
And more people should be like that.
They should be.
Speak out.
They should be. And I mean, I had this very discussion on a panel with the majority of the people that I was debating with. Actually, all of them, from memory, were all black, telling me about white privilege. And I was like, okay, so you all believe this is real? And they said, yeah, we do. Yeah, we think that, you know, you've got an advantage because you're white. And I said, okay. So when does white privilege begin? They said, from birth. I was like, interesting. I said, so if Barack Obama's kids, they were born, he's the president, he's got millions, he's got protection for life. I said, but a white family, the parents are addicted to crack cocaine, the baby's addicted to crack upon birth, born in a shithole. Who's got the privilege from birth? You can't use that example because he's the president. And I said, well, how did he get there? And they said, what do you mean? I said, well, do you agree that America is racist? Is that what you think? They said, yeah, we do. I said, right. I said, how did he become president then?
Yep.
Because more white people had to vote for him than black. And it kind of blew their mind a little bit because they were like, well, we can't really argue this other than that's an extreme example. And I said, no, I know it's an extreme example. That's the point. Yeah. That's the whole point. I do believe that people have privileges, but I don't think it's based on your skin colour. And I think that the further you get away from that victimhood mindset, the better off you will be. I know many, many, many black people that don't have that mindset, and they've all got one thing in common: success.
That's very interesting, isn't it? Yeah. So what would be your one top tip for success?
Having the confidence to go for what you want. And that's not a pun. That's not just a player with the show. I really believe that. I think that if you believe that you can do something, even if you don't, think that you can. There's nothing that I've ever done where I thought I would lose. Nothing. Winning mentality. Yeah, well, it's not to say that I've reached the successes or the heights of success that I've always wanted. But when I said I wanted to be a singer, people told me to get a real job. And I said, no, this is what I want to do. And I did it. And I still do it. Then it was, I want to be a DJ. Oh, come on. Okay, cool. I'm still going to do it. Then it was, I want to be a politician. Really? Are you really going to do that? Really? Yeah. And I got involved and I did it. And then it was like, right, I want to work in TV. And slowly but surely, I'm doing it. You know, I haven't reached that height where I can say that I am on TV as a regular, but I'm on TV enough that people know about it. So I'm not it's having, like, again, what right do I have to say that I want to be on TV?
Well, why not?
Well, you know, some people that work in these TV channels have been to universities. They come from certain backgrounds. I'm from a council estate in Barking. So do you see what I'm saying? You have that level of, like, this is the standard. Where do you fit in this? And I don't believe in that. I think that if you want to go for something, just go for it.
Don't do it.
The worst you can be told is no. But
like you said at the beginning, that you're no worse off than you are now.
No, and
I think that's brilliant.
I think most people, if they try, they'd be surprised at how much success they can have just by trying.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've never failed at anything I've wanted to do.
Yeah.
I may not be, as I said, at the height that I wanted to reach, but I haven't been unsuccessful at it.
And you're doing it.
Yeah.
And you're enjoying it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So would you say you're happy?
I would say that I'm happy because I have security of what I'm doing. I think I'm fortunate. I don't think many people have. I don't think many people. I'm trying to find my words here now. You might want to have to scrub this part off because I can't think of the words this particular segment. But I know what I'm thinking. I think a lot of people don't have.
Well, like we said earlier, if you think about people don't want to speak out because I've got bills to pay, I don't want to lose my job.
I was trying to remember something that my friend told me, which was that people have to be open to success. I think people shut themselves off from being successful because of how they think about themselves. Like your self-esteem, your self-image, the way you think about yourself when you get up in the mirror and look in the mirror in the morning, it's that will set you back without. It's limiting. You're gonna have to scrub this as well because I'm stuttering over the place.
No, but it's not. It's the people have limiting beliefs, and that's part of what I do. You're talking about the self-belief and, you know, their self-confidence that it's been scrubbed out.
Yeah. Because
of the way that we're indoctrinated to go to school, to go to university, to get your job and pay bills and pay taxes and all of this. But when you step out of that and you look at yourself in a different way, you start to believe in yourself more. And the more you do something, the better you get. So you have to go and get out there and make these things happen because no one's going to do it for you.
No, they're not. They're not.
No.
When people realise that, I notice they become happier. One of my best friends, he owns a hair transplant consultancy. And when he first started, he didn't think it would be successful because he's always tried things which haven't quite worked out. Right. Now, he was a singer like me, and he was done with it. He was so tired of doing the circuit and performing in pubs and clubs and everything else that he said, I really want to go for this. I've met this guy who runs a surgery. I'm going to become his booker, if you like. And I said, are you sure you want to do this? Even I was not trying to put him off. I was just trying to say to him, this geezer sounds a little bit... I don't know if I would trust him. Right. But then again, I didn't know the guy. I never met the guy, so I don't know. And I said, I don't know if this is a risk worth taking. He ignored me. He ignored other people that made him feel a little bit cautious. Yeah. And he's by far, you know, one of the most successful consultancies in the country. Nice. And he's done that in the past 5 or 6 years. And that's just because he said, I'm going to do it anyway. I'm just going to do it.
You have to believe in yourself.
Yeah, and he did. And he did. And sometimes he's one of those guys that likes to humble himself, and I don't like that. He says, oh, you know, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and I'm earning this much, and I've got this invested, and blah, 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 blah. And I say, okay, cool. That's really good. You're really proud of yourself. And he says, yeah, well, it ain't, you know, it's not all that. I said, Michael, you do realise how far you've come, right? You do understand that. He's like, yeah, but, you know, I don't want to let it get to my head. But
you don't have to let it get to your head, but you should celebrate your success and congratulate yourself, pat yourself on the back from something that, you know, you might not have believed in the beginning, and that you're making something of it. I think that's something to be proud of.
But he's a wonderful example of following through even in doubt. Yeah. So I think you need to own the doubt, like crush it. If you got doubt, just crush it. Yeah. That's what he did. And I look at him and I go, bro, you've done it. Like, you've absolutely made it. Like, you've done really well for yourself. And I'm proud of him for that. Good. You know, it's great that you did that. So
that's amazing. So would your one top tip for people to increase their confidence, what would that be? To crush the doubt or something else?
I would say crushing doubt is a good one.
I like that.
It's a good one, yeah. I think that doubt, it's debilitating to some people. It's like, it kind of makes you feel self-aware because you're afraid of what other people might say for trying, what they might say if you fail, or what some people might even say when you succeed. Because you still get haters when you succeed.
Yep.
So I think the fear of failure is where the doubt comes in. And I just think, if you don't try, you failed anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it will live in your mind.
Yeah.
That failure will be there.
I wish I'd done this. I wish I'd done that.
Yeah.
Fuck getting to the end of your life thinking that.
Yeah.
I always think go out and try. If you don't try, you never know.
Yeah.
So, on that note, I think we should close this up nicely. Yeah. So where can people follow you and find you, and what would you like them to know you for?
What would I like people to know me for?
Yeah.
Being a free thinker that likes to party. That's probably the best way to put it. A free thinker that likes to party. Yeah. So if you just search me up, Charlie Sansom, you can find me pretty much on every network, but I don't really go on Facebook too much, so I'll just skip that one.
Yeah.
You know, Twitter and Instagram is where I spend most of my time, and
well, we'll put all the links in the show notes and stuff,
yeah,
and
cool.
on the YouTube channel when the video comes out, because got video now.
Got video now.
Got video
Look at
now.
you, upgrading,
moving up in the world.
That's it.
Well, anyway, thank you very, very much for joining us on the podcast. I very much enjoyed having a conversation with you.
You're welcome. I'm so glad to meet you, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, you too. No, it's been really good. So make sure that you listen, subscribe, download, do all of that, and follow Charlie, which is that one. Thank you very, very, very much for listening. Bye.